Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the March 11th, 2008 installment of the Friendly Neighborhood Glendale Redevelopment Agency.
Oh, come on. What
Mr. City Clerk, would you call the roll?
Agency members: Najarian.
Here.
Quintero.
Here.
Weaver.
Here.
Yusefian.
Here.
Chairman Draymond.
Here. Could you please give us your report?
The agenda for the March 11, 2008 regular meeting of the Glendale Redevelopment Agency was posted on Thursday, March 6, 2008 on the bulletin board outside City Hall.
Thank you.
Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved. Second.
All right. Minutes will stand approved as submitted. Next item.
Next item is oral communication. Discussion is limited time and is not part of this agenda. Each speaker is allowed 5 minutes. Members of the redevelopment agency may question or respond to the speaker, but there will be no debate or decision. The matter may be referred to staff through the executive director for an investigation and report.
I have no cards for oral communications. Just wanted to let that sink in for a second. All right, then. I will... oral communications is closed. Next item.
Business agenda at 6A is a public hearing. Director of Development Services regarding conversion of office building located at 501 North Orange Street from general office to medical office, which requires a parking exception for 69 spaces. At A1 is a motion approving parking exception with conditions.
Thank you. Colleague,
Mr. Chair, I need to disclose that I do have my law office located at the 500 North Central Avenue property, which is adjacent to the 501 North Orange Street. The two buildings share a subterranean parking structure, and I myself park there every single day. I have recently concluded lease negotiations for a short-term lease on my law practice located at 500 North Central Avenue. Therefore, in an abundance of caution, I will be recusing myself based on a financial conflict. I need to leave the room, do I? I will leave the room unless called as a percipient witness to any of the parking conditions currently. Am I permitted to do that?
You would be permitted to leave the dais and speak from the podium on matters of your own personal interests. So as it impacts your own personal interests, you could speak to it. But if you're speaking to generally how it might affect the building or anything else, that would be something that would not be permitted under Airport Practices Commission guidelines.
I will decline for making an affirmative statement, and I will bid you adieu.
What's a percipient?
All right. Well,
Witness.
Mr. City Attorney, what is the official response when you've been bad adieu?
What's a percipient witness? I don't...
Well,
I've heard the word, but...
Recipient witness is someone who has personalized knowledge of facts or circumstances of an event or an occurrence.
Oh, goodbye.
okay. Nothing else. Let me open the hearing, the public hearing at 6A. And with that, Mr. City Clerk, if you wouldn't mind reading there at 6A for us.
6A, we did read it. It's already been read into the record.
I missed it. I was getting signals at that moment. Then let's go to the City Manager, please.
And I'll go to Phil Lansdale, Director for the staff report. Phil.
Mr. Chairman, members of the agency, I'd like to introduce a fairly new member of our staff, Annette Vartanian Jackson, to give you this report.
And on somebody else's issue.
No, we're good on this one.
Agency Chairman Draymond and members of the Redevelopment Agency. I'm Annette Vartanian Jackson, Assistant Project Manager in the Development Services Department. Today I'm making a presentation on a request by Bantry Holdings for a 69-space parking exception for the property located at 501 North Orange Street. This property is located at the corner of Orange and Milford Streets, directly behind the 500 North Central building. The subject property was formerly the site of the General Cinema, an approximate 34,000 square foot movie theater, and it was part of the original project development in 1989. The theater closed in late 2003, and the subject property has been vacant since that date. To promote reuse of the building, the theater space was converted to office space in October 2004. The conversion eliminated a mezzanine level, reducing the building space to approximately 27,000 square feet of office space. Since the conversion, the property owners have been attempting to lease the space to commercial office tenants. This has been a difficult task due to the higher than normal office vacancy rate in the downtown area and the somewhat unusual configuration of this former movie theater space. At this time, the building owners have identified medical office tenants as their target market sector. In order to accommodate medical office uses, the property owner must comply with increased parking requirements for medical office uses. Essentially, the code requires 2.7 spaces for every 1,000 square feet of general office use and 5 spaces per 1,000 square feet for medical office uses. The applicant has evaluated several options for complying with the code requirements for parking because physical modification of the building to provide additional parking is not feasible. However, the building does have capacity for an on-site valet service and also has existing parking which is underutilized. The applicant is proposing to use these two factors to address the 69 space code required parking shortage. Therefore, the applicant has requested a 69-space parking exception to allow shared use of an existing underutilized parking along with an on-site valet parking service. A parking study describing the applicant's proposal is provided as Exhibit 1 of this report. The Assistant Traffic and Transportation Administrator, Mr. Mitchell, has evaluated the applicant's proposal and parking study and found the conclusions to be accurate. A complete copy of Mr. Mitchell's analysis is provided as Exhibit 2 of the staff report. The applicant has shown that the parking requirements of the medical office use can be met on-site through shared parking and a valet parking operation. Granting the parking exception will allow the applicant to immediately lease 50% of the vacant space and also improve the pool of potential clients for the remaining vacant space. Eliminating office vacancies in the downtown is consistent with the goals of the redevelopment plan for the central project area and beneficial to downtown merchants. Therefore, staff is recommending approval of the requested 69-space parking exception. We are available to answer any questions the agency members may have. The applicant and his representatives are also present in the audience and available to answer questions.
Okay, let me ask a question, just to clarify. So this shares the parking in tandem with the 500 North Central building, and that is the building that has the McDonald's?
Yes, that's correct.
Yes, I also understand it has a prominent Glendale law firm in it as well.
How do you know it's prominent?
Well, a law firm, anyway.
Okay.
Okay. Anyway, and so the parking, though the parking requirements for the 500 North Central building are underutilized, why? Do we know? How?
I can tell you that.
Well,
McDonald's?
I'm sure you can, but I'd like to
Right.
let Annette get her feet wet here.
Well, I can just say that the parking study did show that the McDonald's space was underutilized because it's mostly walk-through traffic from nearby office buildings, and also because most of the clients are drive-through, so they don't utilize the parking spaces available.
And we're convinced, we feel comfortable that 69 spaces is accounted for. Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Mr. Quintero.
I don't have any questions, but I think this is an excellent use for that space. After the loss of the theater, it's been, you can see a noticeable gap in terms of the energy around that corner. I think this medical use is an excellent idea, and I'll be prepared to make the motion whenever the questions are concluded.
All right. Let me go to Councilmember Yusefian and then Councilmember Weaver.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I have no problem giving this exception, but only to the user. I do not wish to continue this item for perpetuity. We did issues like this on Brand in the past. What happens is things start changing and modifying. So it goes from one thing to another. So now it's 5, and then later on it'll be something else. And next thing you know, if they pack up their bags and leave, then somebody else will come in and ask another parking exception, and they would say, gee, we already had that 70 parking spaces, so these are phantom spaces. They do not exist. And that's what we've done in the past in this city. Hence, Brand Boulevard, many stores have absolutely no parking. There are places over there that hold 500 people, have zero parking, because what they had done in the past. I do not wish to repeat the mistakes of my predecessors again. So I understand what they're using it for. I think it's a very good use, but I would like to give that exception to the applicant for this particular use, so long as the use stays consistent, which is if these people leave and another medical office comes in, I don't have problems. But as soon as that use is eliminated, and I know what the zoning is, it takes 1 year for them to change, so I want to make sure that it comes back to the future council, because I do not want to add all these spaces here. There are 70 spaces here, 20 spaces somewhere else, 15 spaces there. Next thing you know, you have issues.
Phil, if this is a direct response to that, otherwise I'm going to go to Mr. Weaver and come back to you.
Well, it was just a suggestion. The motion already includes something along the lines of what you're suggesting, only for medical use. We may want to add and cannot be combined as a credit for a future use, if that's something that would make you more comfortable.
I just want to clarify, Mr. Yusefian, are you saying the applicant or for the use?
For the use.
Use.
Okay, because you also used the word applicant, and I just wanted to clarify that.
Use.
Okay.
You're right.
Mr. Weaver?
I have a traffic flow question. Should I ask Mr. Mitchell to come up or somebody else? You're as good as anybody. I don't need a legal opinion. Okay. When we let out of council, say at 11 o'clock at night, a lot of times I drive by that McDonald's to get my dinner. Now, I come in off of Orange, and a lot of people come in off of Milford. The traffic flow to the valet, how are we going to handle it? Because if they come in off of Orange, they're bucking into the traffic that may be going to the medical that might also be coming in off of Milford. So are we going to direct them to enter off of Milford where the main driveway is, or what?
Chairman Draymond, members of the agency, Mr. Weaver, the valet operation will only be in the subterranean parking garage. It will not be on the at-grade level that's accessed either from the Milford driveway.
Well, that's where the access is, so who's parking in that area?
In which
At the street level for McDonald's.
street level, there's the driveway that comes off
Right.
Milford in between the 501 building and
Yeah.
the McDonald's, and then there's the driveway off Orange. The one on Orange aligns directly with the subterranean parking, or you can make the left as you first come
Right.
in to go to McDonald's to their drive-through or in the short-term parking. The valet operation will only be in the subterranean parking, so the most logical way to enter for that would be from the Orange Street driveway to go directly and to go to the subterranean parking.
Okay, so if you're going for a medical appointment the first time, you come off of Orange, find there's no spacing, then we'll have signage or something.
There's signage, yes, just as it is today. If you can't find a place to park at the at-grade, then you work your way over to the north end of the lot and then drop down into the subterranean
I'm
parking.
never down where I have to park. So
And a good number of the at-grade are handicap parking currently?
All of them?
No, not all of them. I say just a good number of them are handicap parking.
Usually most of the places are empty.
Right now, the first floor is usually always that way. It's reserved for McDonald's, but
They don't use it.
most of the visitors that are going to the upper level of the 500 building use
Go
that
down?
as well.
I didn't know. Oh, where that prominent attorney's
But
going
the
to
valet would be accessible from either Milford or Orange, because you
Correct.
can wind through the first floor and come around and get into the main entrance to the subterranean as
be.
well.
I've never come in off of Milford and tried to go
You
down.
can get to it both ways.
Okay, thank you.
Anything else for Mr. Mitchell while he's... Okay, thank you. Mr. City Attorney. City
On
Manager.
Mr. Yusefian's question, maybe to Jillian, the condition seems to address his point. Is there anything else that's needed there? The condition in the resolution, I think, or the motion, I think, addresses your concern, Mr. Yusefian. Is there anything else needed?
Well, I think the item that says these parking items cannot be used in the future to be counted toward a future different use.
Yeah, in particular, the condition number 1 says the parking exception is specific to the medical office use described in the March 11, 2008 staff report. So that means any different use
That's
would have to
correct.
come back to you again.
Well,
That's
I
a
like to
non,
ha-
that's a non-medical use.
I like
would,
to have it
but-
spelled out,
Yeah,
because
and-
we've
and-
had cases like this, and when I was on BZA, they come back and they argue for it. They say, well, this is not what they meant. They meant it to be used later, so.
Mr. Chairman, that's what I was hearing, and as a result, perhaps language to the effect of the following might be of some assistance. Should a medical use be discontinued in whole or in part, this parking exception shall be void and of no further force and effect.
That satisfies.
I'll move 6A1 with that amendment.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. I do have one speaker card from Rodney Kahn.
Why?
Would you like to forego your opportunity to address this agency, sir?
Would you like to close it?
You just
Otherwise, Mr.
jinx
Khan,
it.
it's yours to lose.
That's exactly it.
All right, then, I'd like to close the public hearing then.
Oh, the motion's been made, I'm sorry.
Mr. City Clerk, if you could call the roll, please.
Yeah.
Agency members, Najarian. Quintero.
Yes.
Weaver.
Aye.
Yusefian.
Aye.
Chairman Draymond.
Next item, please.
Is there any agency member or staff comments?
A question.
Yes, Mr. Yusefian.
Question from Mr. Lansfane. What is when do we anticipate completion of the hotel?
The Embassy Suites Hotel is slated for completion mid-June now, and there will be as they get further along, we'll have an announcement on a firm date. Right now, they're looking at mid-June.
Aren't they 5-6 months behind?
Yeah, I thought so, because it looks like the construction kind of has slowed down. I don't know if they're having problems getting material or what.
No, but they are getting to that end where they're starting to do finishes, and the work just seems
Side.
to...
And they did have a rainy.
It's that awkward stage, I
Awkward
think.
stage,
yeah.
okay.
Well, it looks like the large glass panel is taking some time.
Right.
On glass.
That's what I was saying.
Yeah, that's taking some time.
Sometimes you have issues where maybe a problems with the glass they ordered, maybe there was some problems with it.
Seems
so
to be
they
just
may have
taking a
sent it,
long
so-
time.
All right, thank you.
Okay,
Move we adjourn.
thank you.
Second.
Thank you. We are adjourned at 10 up. And, Ms. Jackson, you did a very nice job.